Hello and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 faction focused. I am joined by 4th generation Australian Adam Camilleri. Adam, thanks for joining us.
My absolute pleasure to be here. That's a good one. I thought you were going to say Hero of the Uprising, but that
Well,
works.
you could also be that. You could also be that.
Well, one day.
So we're talking Genestealer Cults today. This is one of the more unusual armies in Warhammer 40,000. Just an army of hard workers and a few aliens sprinkled in for the mix.
Very much the blue collar, blue collar army of the 41st
I think it's purple collars for the most part.
Yeah, they do like that too. This is real powerful. These 3 detachments are up there and extremely strong. I cannot wait to see what Genestealer Cult players do with this. And I think Genestealer Cults are going to be placed extremely well into 11th edition.
So how do you think they're going to do generally in the edition before we get into the details of the...
Genestealer Cults in their previous incarnation were a very skill-expressive armies. The best players in the world and the dedicated faction experts on Genestealer Cults could almost do anything. But then you found it was a very hard army to, at times, pick up and execute with because there were so many more moving pieces. And you are a guardsman. You have an army.
It's not immediately obvious how the army works.
Yes,
when you sort of look at the data sheets, you're like, how does it fit together? What are the synergies?
You are an army ostensibly of guardsmen with more dynamics. And if you can't leverage those dynamics, you at times...
It's all about placement and movement.
It is all about placement. It's so very nuanced. These 3 detachments are going to be adding some very strong reliability to this army. I am so excited for Genestealer Cult players. I think you are going to be super happy.
All right, well, let's dive straight in. So we've got the first one is Xenocult Masses, and this is a detachment that works with probably the most common unit in the Genestealer Cult army, which is the Neophyte hybrids. These are your bread and butter battle line troops.
Right. Yep. So we've taken in units of 10 or 20, and at times in this previous edition, we've seen 3 to 4 to 5 units of 20 Neophytes absolutely being dominant.
I think I've got
on
80
tables.
at home.
Yeah, that's probably about the right number. But in your command phase, if a friendly Neophyte hybrid unit is within a terrain area, they will heal 3 wounds. They will get 3 models back to the unit. And I don't know if you guys know this, they already do that. They already heal models.
Yeah, if you've got the banner in the unit, they get wounds back. If you're on an objective, you get even more wounds back.
Yeah, you could potentially go from having a unit of 10 guys that gets killed down to 1, back up to 10 in the same phase, in your command phase.
I think it does encourage you to lean into them, right? So
really
if you take units of 10, you're probably going to get them wiped out. But if you take units of 20, enemy can remove half of that unit and you can grow it back.
Exactly right. And when you have the units of 20, you're essentially all just banking on the special weapons to do your damage. You have las guns equivalents, and then you have your seismics, your webbers, whatever version you try to take, your mining lasers. Those are the power pieces within those unit of 20 guys, and then any attached characters. And so you have a lot of ablative wounds that can keep being healed back before you actually get
the good stuff.
Remove the damage-dealing portions of the unit. This is an incredible ability.
They've got a bunch of other stuff in this detachment that also combines with Neophyte hybrids. Looking at the enhancements, we've got one which is an upgrade, which means you can give it to one of these battle line units, and it lowers their detection range.
Yes, so we've talked a little bit about offensively lowering the or increasing the detection range of units in order to activate against them better and shoot them when maybe you wouldn't be able to otherwise. This is making your units harder to shoot. This is -3 detection range, so they'll be starting at hidden or lone operative equivalent 12, and when that's on 20 models where you get perfect placement because these are arriving from reserve a lot of the time, or if you would started on the table, this means you can hold objectives very safely early in the game whilst not having to worry about where the angles you can be seen on, the long angles, or you can arrive from reserve with perfect placement and knowledge of what can interact with you next turn.
I think a great way to use this would be to put this unit onto an objective knowing that the enemy has to come within 12, and then you back it up with Purestrains, Aberrants, combat unit of your choice. Basically, you go, well, if you want to threaten them, you are absolutely within the threat range of my best combat units.
Yep, stage 10 up against a wall, tendril a couple of models onto the objective, whilst behind them your heavy hitters, your power pieces.
Nobody wants to move within 12 of Genestealers.
No, it's an auto. If you move within 12 of a unit that is just one unit on the other side of a wall, you're auto charged by those Stealers. They cannot fail that charge. Yeah.
So looking at what else this detachment brings, you've also got a stratagem called Slunk from the Underbelly, and this basically gives them a version of Armor of Contempt.
This is quite funny. So this is 1 command point for a Neophyte hybrid unit in your opponent's shooting phase when enemy unit has selected them. Range attacks at target unit have -1 incoming penetration. So 5 up armor save. You can be, against AP2, you could have a 6-up. Against AP1, you could still have your 5-up armor save. So theoretically, that is good. On the 20 model units, I think it actually holds value. On the 10s, maybe we'll see. It depends what you're getting shot by. But against in the big squad, where all you really want to do is not go below the special weapon number, so you can continue to regen and heal back your models. It's actually not bad.
And I think because terrain no longer gives you an extra pip of armor, actually a 5-up save is more fragile. It feels more fragile now than it did in the previous edition. So being able to make those units a little bit more durable, if you really have lent into Neophyte hybrids, put the characters in the units to give them the bonuses and the pluses to hit and whatnot, you do want to keep them alive.
I totally agree. I love this detachment. I think it's very strong for the bread and butter of the Genestealer Cults.
Right. Well, moving on to the Heroes of the Uprising. Heroes of the Uprising is the name of the next detachment. This effectively is a way to make some of those specialist characters within the Genestealer Cult army really pop. You've got a great selection of support heroes and some very good kind of assassination style heroes. They become very effective in this detachment.
So friendly Kellamorph, Locust, Reductor, Saboteur, and Sanctus models get the killer keyword. Friendly killer models, attacks have real 1s to hit and 1s to wound. So that's shooting and fighting, because of course the Kellamorph shoots a lot better than it fights, and the Locust or the Sanctus, vice versa. Reductor, Saboteur pretty much only shoots. So this is a great ability, and it just kind of keeps getting better from there.
Yeah, so looking at the enhancements, the first we're going to look at is gene-tailored toxins. This is a thing that you can give to your Locust or Sanctus, and the model's attacks have +1 damage. That's either for their shooting attacks or for their combat attacks, but we think probably the combat attacks is where this really works.
I was unconvinced on this one, and Eddie was like, hold up, let me show you something. And you pulled up or showed me the Sanctus's melee abilities.
So I've got a Sanctus in my army now. Yeah. Sometimes I run 2 of them. I think they're phenomenal. They are basically like little mobile character killers. They already have 6 attacks at damage 2, anti-infantry 3+. You can make that 3 damage attacks now. So all of a sudden, the range of units you can start to threaten become, the Blade Guards, Terminators, Custodians, things like that. And moving from 2 damage to 3 damage, all of a sudden basically means instead of needing to get 3 wounds through to kill most characters, you only need to get 2 wounds through to remove almost up to and including Space Marine captains. Correct.
You're also re-rolling 1s to hit, 1s to wound on that profile as well, making it very consistent.
I already love this unit.
I was impressed. I'm straight up impressed. You have sold me, mate.
So there's a really nice stratagem that goes with this detachment as well. It is living up to the legend, and this interacts with Battle Shock.
Yes, this is 1 command point, and each visible friendly Battle Shock Genestealer Cult unit within 12 of your unit is no longer Battle Shock. So you'll be able to unbattle shock en masse from the Genestealer Cult portion, which is really important because Battle Shock is really going to allow you to avoid all the pitfalls, continue to score all your points, use all your incredible stratagems, and then, keep the damage flowing.
So the idea with this detachment really is to sprinkle a bunch of these characters throughout the army, some of the assassins, some of the saboteurs, that sort of thing. And then if the battle starts to go against you, you start taking some battle shocks. The presence of them can bolster those forces. You can keep on scoring even though your troops are being depleted.
Correct. And of course, unbattle shocking a unit is, of course, you have a command point to auto pass a battle shock. But once you are battle shocked, becoming unbattle shocked is kind of difficult. You just have to pass the test or use a mechanic like this. It's actually quite rare to, friendly battle shock Genestealer Cults within 12. There's quite a large area of effect to unbattle shock units in. It's actually the biggest one that we've seen so far in all of the detachments we've reviewed.
So the last one we're going to look at, the final generation of Genestealers, the Purestrain Broodswarm. This is a detachment that basically makes your Purestrain Genestealers the assault specialist of your army.
Correct.
Amazing. And there's some great combos in here.
Yeah, the enhancement we're going to talk about here is mind-blowingly good. But the detachment rule is enemy within, and this allows you at the end of your opponent's fight phase for friendly, unengaged Purestrain Genestealers to be placed into strategic reserve, which what I quite like about that is a lot of the time you will be throwing out your Genestealers, and almost always you'll connect. They're very fast, they get up the board very quickly, and they're very deadly. If you charge the right thing, they just kill it and are unengaged. And then should they make it through your opponent's turn, you just take them off the board and leave them on for a threat, a sword of Damocles to hang over your opponent's head for later.
What I like about it is when you have Purestrains, they have infiltrate. So normally what happens early on in the game is that you've got your Purestrains basically positioned at each of the objectives to kind of go either on the objective or ready to pounce on anything that comes there. All they now need to do is wait until your next wave of things arrives, so your Neophytes or your Acolytes or some vehicles, and then all of a sudden they go, right, you guys have got this.
Yep.
there's no enemies within immediate range, we're off. We'll see you later.
Go back to
we'll go back underground,
yeah.
And we'll pop up later where the game needs us. And this combines beautifully with the fact that you've got loads of other mechanisms of bringing units in unusual ways,
Correct.
like redeploying units. Yep. So this is just a great combo into an already very dynamic army.
Yep, spot on. Tell me about... So I want you to tell me about this enhancement, because you're the GSC player, and this is amazing.
This is really cool. So there's an enhancement called Mark of the Star Children. This is an upgrade enhancement, which means you can give it to a unit. You have to give it to Purestrain Genestealers. It has a bunch of abilities. It gives you +1 toughness. So all of a sudden, your Genestealers that used to die quite easily to bolt guns are...
Toughness 5.
33% harder to kill, right? You have a 4-up save, even harder to kill again, and you have +1 strength. So you've got strength and toughness 5 and a better save.
Yep.
So immediately a great unit. This is absolutely the unit you're going to join your Patriarch to.
Correct.
So you have multiple units of small 5-man Purestrains. They can hop around, they can deep strike, they can re-deep strike, and you have your big killer unit of Genestealers with this upgrade, the Patriarch in it, devastating wounds, advance and charging, messing up anything they hit. That is a great unit. And
indeed, and the way with the new list construction works with the detachment points, that's all you would need. 2 units of 5, 1 unit of 10, and a Patriarch. Which, I mean, in all honesty, most Genestealer Cult armies take 1 or 2 units of 5 Genestealers already, and many still take a Patriarch. And so you don't have to reach very far to activate all the portions of this detachment.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
The first of the stratagems, we're going to cover 2 here. What's the first one?
So the first one's Lurk and Strike. This is effectively, you can make a fallback move with one of your Genestealer units and then still charge later on.
Yeah. So one of the things that will happen, you launch out your Genestealers, people are like, oh wow, that's going to kill any infantry piece that it touches. I'm going to ram with a Rhino and try and keep it in place. And then for 1 command point, you get to avoid that pitfall.
Yeah,
really
and they're fast moving as well, so you can move. They've got a decent move, so you can bounce out. You can then get a charge into something else.
Yep.
It makes it very hard to pin down your Genestealer unit. It combos quite nicely as well with the fact that you've got that detachment rule where you can put things back into strategic reserve, so you don't end up getting yourself bogged down into a combat.
Yeah,
so that's really strong. The next one you've got there is Crawling Horror. This is a great ability.
So this is 1 command point. Once again, I mentioned it previously in another one where you're not enhancing your detection range of your opponent, as in being able to interact with them from further away. You're impacting your opponent's ability to interact with you and your detection range when hidden. So this is the start of your opponent's movement phase. 1 friendly Purestrain Genestealer unit. Your unit has a -6 detection range until the end of the turn. That means they have Lone Operative 9.
Yeah, so that's great. So,
wild. This is so powerful.
Unless your opponent has a way of increasing your detection range, so if they've got Pathfinders or something like that, they might have. But if they haven't, this can make what was previously going to be a dead Genestealer unit very safe.
Yeah, completely safe. Now, what I love about this is that, of course, you can combo off a bunch of detection range-like mechanics in order to make things suitable. In a lot of exchanges, it will require a unit's ability and then a stratagem to get +3, then +3 again onto the detection range to just get it back to where it was and where it started.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot of hoops you have to jump through to be able to attack this unit again from range. And this is, I think this is so fantastic. This is one of the ways I love, you got that big hammer unit we were talking about, the 10 with the Patriarch, sending it into a flank. The flank collapses, people evacuate just in case they don't kill it. And then, you hit the detection range. Be like, oh, you ran away? And what is this trigger? The start of your opponent's movement phase. Do you want to run away from my super deadly crazy unit? Because if you do, you can't shoot me because I just spent the command point.
But the other thing
now,
about that,
do you stay or do you go?
Well, the other thing is that potentially, if they're trying to move forward and get within that 9 to shoot you, you'll be able to heroically intervene.
Exactly.
You're going to be able to kind of attack them. It's just brilliant. But that also amazingly combines again with the army special rule, which is that if they decided not to shoot you, you can just pick the unit up and put it down again wherever you want next turn. This is a great toolbox of stuff for Genestealer players.
I have to say, all 3 of these are absolutely blowing my mind with the possibilities for really strong armies. I think any one of these, even by itself, is already like, even just 2 of these together make, in my opinion, a very strong and robust army. I love, and we don't quite know yet for the detachment points, but having the Purestrain list plus the Neophyte list.
That seems like a nice combo, doesn't it?
It goes together. Yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely
right,
fantastic.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Genestealer Cult players, forearmed is forewarned. We'll be back very soon with more Warhammer 40,000 faction focus.